Good morning and welcome to Can We Talk Mentors Matter, sponsored by our Human Resources Department DEI Committee. Allow me to introduce our team members. Please stand. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Laura Cannon, and I co-chair the committee and would like to thank you all, whether in attendance in the audience or online. We here at Cuyahoga County have made a commitment to support our young residents in their education and careers. At the same time, we want our employees to be empowered to become involved in activities that will enhance and serve our community. Mentorship is a way to give back by sharing your experience with those who are in a position that you once were to help grow and succeed. The experience can create lasting positive change for both the mentor and the mentee. Today, we will learn from our guest speakers, mentors, and mentees about the mentorship processes, firsthand experiences, and highlights of their journey. My co-chair, Kim Coleman, will introduce our panel, who will lead our conversation today about people, mentorship, and transformation. Please welcome Kim.
Good morning. I'm leading our conversation today. We're going to introduce our panel of well-regarded community leaders. Nicki Price joins us from College Now of Greater Cleveland, where she is the Mentor Recruitment Manager. In her position, Nicki connects volunteers with opportunities that directly impact their community through mentorship. Nicki has a passion for community advocacy, which is demonstrated through her work. She works on the Veterans Committee of the Cleveland chapter of the NAACP. She's on the board of the Friends of the youve Library and the Forum for Volunteer Administrators. And Nicki is our contact for Cuyahoga County employees who are interested in volunteering with College Now. Destiny Smith. Destiny joins us from Cuyahoga County's Public Safety and Justice Services Department, where she currently works as a program officer. Destiny is a proud alumnus of the College Now program. Her experience as a mentee has guided her educational career. Destiny received her bachelor's degree in political science from Hiram College in 2021 and her master's degree in public administration and policy from Cleveland State University in 2023, and she has joined us as a Cuyahoga County employee. Lawrence Patterson, Sr. Lawrence joins us from Cuyahoga County's IT department, where he has worked for 26 years. He currently manages infrastructure and engineering for our Health and Human Services divisions. Lawrence is a lifelong Clevelander with a deep commitment to mentorship, community service, and personal growth. He volunteers with True to You that guides Cleveland Public School students. And True to You works in the community in the middle schools to help kids foster their transition into high school and further on in their career. Lawrence believes that mentoring isn't just about giving advice, it's about showing up, building trust, and walking alongside youth as they find their voice and their path. Tomika Ballard. Tomika joins us from our Cuyahoga County Department of Human Resources. Tomika is a human resources generalist with HR. She is also a longtime volunteer with the True to You program. Tomika is heavily involved within her community, and she guides herself through mentorship, just not with the youth, but also within our Cuyahoga County community. So we'd like to thank all of the panelists for joining us today. And we will have moderating this discussion, Jamila Kirk. She is a contract compliance officer with our Department of Equity and Inclusion. Ms. Kirk Has mentorship, she told me, is a cause that is dear to her heart. Her advocacy for mentorship through her own experiences gives her a unique perspective that we thought was ideal to lead our discussion today. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending today. We're going to jump into our questions. So this is a question for all of the panelists. Tomika, we'll start with you. What role does mentorship play in personal and professional growth, and how has it impacted your journey?
I believe that mentorship relationships are centered around supporting individuals in their personal and professional growth. As a mentor, my role is to guide and empower the mentee as they work towards their goals they have set for themselves and their future. Ultimately, my goal is to help them believe in their own potential and take ownership of their journey while supporting them throughout.
How about you, Lawrence?
Okay, we're going to go down the line.
Yes. We're going to be in order today.
So for me, mentorship has been important both personally and professionally, and it's not just about getting advice or giving direction. It's more about seeing more in someone or having them see more than in you than you see in yourself. And every step of my career has had the fingerprint of one of my mentors on it. They were able to help guide me and open up doors where I didn't see them as being available to me at the particular time. So it's helped me have a mirror or a compass as I continue along my journey.
Thank you.
I think mentorship has guided me to where I am currently. So at one point, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I am not a lawyer. My mentor, Kira Kurbash, who works at the Justice Center, she is a magistrate there. Very wonderful individual. I appreciate her and her time that she spent with me. But through our conversations, nothing negative. She was just able to show me and educate me what the process is to become a lawyer. And I knew that that was something that wouldn't be for me. So it made me pursue my master's degree in public administration. And I really found a love for that and what that brought me as a person. So for me, mentorship has always been a lot of open conversations and conversations about my future and what I wanted that to look like. And I think that through those conversations, I was able to find who I wanted to be professionally and personally.
I think for me, the essence of powerful mentorship, both being a mentor and being a mentee, lies in the ability to ignite and nurture curiosity. It's less about giving and getting prescriptive answers. It's more about championing growth. Why is it done this way? What other possibilities exist? Mentorship for me helps create that safe space to explore the unknowns. So in my own journey, the most impactful mentors haven't always just provided guidance, but they've fueled my curiosity. They've challenged my assumptions. They've given me other things to think about, just like with destiny, and they've prompted me to explore perspectives that maybe I didn't consider. And so they've definitely celebrated learning when I've tried something new and maybe it didn't work out perfectly. And then, so that process of kind of guided exploration has been absolutely fundamental to both my personal and professional growth and development.
Thank you, everyone, for your responses, and we'll move on to our next question. Tomika, we'll start with you again. What is a valuable lesson you've learned from being a mentor?
As we all know, the world is constantly evolving, and technology has kind of taken over. So one of the most important lessons that I've learned being a mentor, I believe that mentoring is a two-way street. Not only do we guide and support the mentees have fresh ideas. With the evolving world that we're in today, constantly evolving, they bring new ways to doing things. I think that we can learn from each other. I don't think it's a one-way street. I think it's a two-way street, and it's rewarding for me to be able to work with them in that way.
So for me, this was an important question, so I made sure to write down some notes on this particular. So don't mind me. One of the most valuable lessons that I've learned as a mentor is that people don't need you to have all of the answers. They need you to be present while they find them. Early on, I thought that being a mentor was about being the person that was always offering wisdom or the right advice at the right moment. But what I really learned is that you need to create space for someone to think out loud and think through the problem. Allow them to make their own mistakes and help them to build their own voice. The most meaningful mentorship moments that I've ever had, they didn't come from advising or solving a problem for someone. They came from asking the right questions at the right time and then trusting them to do the rest.
Building off of what Lauren said, as a mentee, I think that one of the most important lessons I have learned is to be confident in my decisions and my abilities. And my mentor, Kira, and I also had a second mentor when I was in graduate school, Dr. Gleason, have really honed that for me and just making me more confident in my abilities. When I was in graduate school, I experienced a lot of imposter syndrome, and Kira and Dr. Gleason really redirected me to be confident about who I am as a person, because I wouldn't be in the rooms and in the spaces that I was in if I didn't have the ability and the skill set to be there. So I think that you are very right. They questioned me, they gave me the space to think out loud, and I honestly gave me the space to not be confident, but also built me up so I could be who I am now. So I really do think that that was one of the most important lessons for me.
I'm going to go a little bit off right now. So I, interestingly, was in a kind of a liminal space. So I work for college now. I'm really doing a lot in that mentor space where I'm matching mentors and mentees. But I also just recently finished my MPA at Cleveland State University and was a mentee myself in the Live-In College program. So I was in that space where I was both a mentee and facilitating mentorship. And so, like Destiny, I had a fantastic mentor, and what I've learned from sitting in that space was really the power of active listening and perspective taking. So, you know, truly listening, and reflecting back. And you know what Lawrence and Destiny both said about, you know, not needing to have all the answers all the time is so true. But sitting there and really doing appreciative inquiry and just talking through challenges and problems on both sides as both the mentor and the mentee has been so instrumental in just problem solving and finding out what the pathway is on both sides of that relationship, on being both a mentor and mentee. That skill set is just so very important.
Thank you again for all of your responses. Destiny, we're going to direct this question to you. What's the best piece of advice you've received from a mentor, and how did it influence your path forward?
I think the best piece of advice I received was actually from my mentor, Kira. She has a law background, and when I was graduating college, I was gung-ho on being a lawyer, as I stated earlier. But I also had a love for policy and public administration and just, you know, local government, really, which I know can be a little strange for people, but local government, I feel like you do the most change and good. So we had conversations regarding both of those things, but I wasn't sure what path I wanted to take. And we debated and debated and talked and talked. And after a while, she finally just said, listen to your gut. Because I know myself best. I need to be confident in myself and listen to what I know that it seems like I wanted in the long run. She told me that my gut would never fail me, and she was right. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to pursue my master's degree in public administration. I wanted to stay local. I wanted to basically essentially do what I'm doing now. And I loved every second of my master's degree program. I loved every second of looking for a job. I know that sounds insane, but I did. I There's so many jobs out there when it comes to local government, and just looking for those things and finding what I really wanted to do was all because she told me to listen to my gut, and I landed in a space in a place that I'm very happy with. So.
Thank you. Nikki, this question is for you. What advice would you give someone who's considering becoming a mentor for the first time?
That's a great question. So first, I would say really look within and figure out, what would you like to mentor for? Would you like to mentor peers? Would you like to mentor in true to you? For those younger youth, would you like to mentor in the college age? So really, really think about what age group you would like to be a mentor to. But then also, the most important thing is to really think about, start from where your mentor is and not where you think you want them to be. I think that's really important. So meet them where they are. That's where the conversation needs to begin. And I think that that's a lot of times where mentors get frustrated. They have this vision of where they want their mentee to be and to go, and perhaps that vision is going to marry in the future to where the mentee's vision of themselves will be, but that's not where the starting line needs to begin. You need to start where the mentee is and then find that future together. So that's my number one recommendation.
All right, Nikki, I actually have one more question for you, if you would, please.
Okay.
Can you give us some information about the College Now program?
Can I do that? Absolutely.
Yay.
And I'll try to keep it concise. So the College Now is a fantastic nonprofit based here in Northeast Ohio, and you may know us by our original name, which is the Cleveland Scholarship Program. Maybe we have some folks other than Destiny in the room and online who've received funding, to fund their post-secondary career from us. So what we do is we fund post-secondary education, and anyone who is receiving the College Now Scholarship or the Say Yes to Cleveland Scholarship is paired with a community mentor. So we always are looking for community volunteers who have a post-secondary degree. That can be a associate's or a four-year that are willing to volunteer with us. Volunteers are virtual mentors. It is 2 emails per month, 3 meetings. Those meetings can be virtual or in person per year. And they are mentoring the student through the post-secondary career. So that can be up to 5 years until the student graduates. And it's so impactful. You might think, virtual mentoring, how impactful is it? It is truly, truly impactful. Our students are staying in school from their first to second year of post-secondary at a rate of 93%, and they're graduating at a 70% rate, which is nearly 20 percentage points higher than their national peers. All of our students, well, I should say a vast, vast, vast majority, don't want to say all, are Pell Grant eligible. And so our students, majority of them are first-generation college students. So it's very important that they have someone in their lives that they can ask these questions to about post-secondary. You know, how do I ask the professor questions? How do I find my place on campus? So these types of mentorship relationships are important. You don't have to know calculus. You don't have to tutor them in biochem, I promise. These are the types of relationships where they can just ask you, you know, those types of academic, non-academic questions, but just getting themselves acclimated to academia. You're matched with one student. So again, it's not a heavy lift, but it is a long-term relationship. And so we would love to have the county employees and anyone else who's listening online to become mentors with us. It's just so very impactful. We have over 1,700 students currently in our program, and we recruit about 500 new mentors to match with our students per year.
All right, thank you very much for that response, Nicki. It's very interesting and great information that's being shared today. So Lawrence, this question is for you. How do you think mentorship differs from coaching or leadership, and why is it an important part of career development?
I feel like I'm getting all the hard questions.
Yes, you are, because you can do it. We believe in you.
This is an IT thing. All right, so let's break down mentorship, coaching, and leadership individually, right? So mentorship is relationship driven. It's long-term. It's more about guidance and shared experiences and wisdom. It's someone who's been there and they can explain to you what happened when they went through the same thing that you're going through. Coaching is more performance-oriented. It's short-term. It's a person that's going to help you develop a skill, behavior, or a goal. Think of it as an individual who's going to help you perfect a particular part of your game or your business strategy in a particular area. And leadership is more about influence and direction, a set of vision. And oftentimes, leaders are tasked with being coaches and mentors as well. But the latter part of your question was why mentorship matters in a career development. It's because they offer real-world perspective. They help you expand your network through their particular network because mentors often have the experience that you don't particularly have. They help build your confidence, as some of the other panelists on here said. They were able to help build them up as they were going through these particular processes. And they help you develop long-term growth.
See, I told you you could do it. I love that answer. Thank you so much. Tomika, this question is for you. What do you consider the most important factors in building a trust-based mentorship relationship?
Thank you. That's a very good question. And my number one answer is mutual trust. Okay, if I can't trust you, I'm not going to open up to you. We as mentors need to understand that we need to build relations with our mentees and vice versa. People go through different things in life, and we have to be realistic to that. And we have to know that these people have our backs. I don't want to talk to someone who might tell my information to someone else. I'm thinking that I should be able to trust you. So any information I give, we should be able to confidentially talk back and forth about that. I don't think everyone needs to know everything the mentees are going through. And as a mentor, sometimes we may share things that we may not want everybody to know, but we might confidentially tell that mentee, you know, just to kind of give them an example of a life-learned event or whatever it is that we may be going through or went through at one time. So there has to be a mutually trust-based mentorship relationship between the mentor and the mentee. The mentee and mentor need to believe in each other's competencies and integrity. Your integrity should never have to be questioned. You should always go in with good intent. And if you're not there to help that mentee, you don't need to be in the program. It's as simple as that.
Thank you. Destiny, this question's for you. How did you approach feedback from your mentor, especially when it may have been critical or difficult to hear?
I believe when I received critical feedback, I really approached it with an open mind and knowing that my mentor came from a place of betterment. The reason for being a part of these programs and being paired with mentors is because they have a level of knowledge that I do not have, which is not a bad thing. Knowledge is power. You know, you go to school, you go to college, you learn all of these things, but experience knowledge carries a different type of weight. So anything that was critical was always appreciated and really welcome because I felt as though that is when I grew the most and learned the most from my mentor.
Thank you. So Lawrence and Tomika, this is a question for the both of you. And Lawrence, I'm choosing you first. I choose you. How do you handle the balance of giving advice versus empowering mentees to solve problems on their own?
Since this is a two-person question, I'll try to keep mine short. You lead with questions. So instead of jumping in with, here's what I do, you ask them, what options have you thought about? You share, you don't solve. You can share your experiences with what happened historically, even if you haven't been through that particular problem. So that shared experience of what happened historically or what you've seen others go through can also help your mentee. And you give permission to them to sort of experiment, right? Try this or try that, but at the same time, know when to step in and try to gently guide them in the right direction. And we can see this like historically, even in our own area. The Honorable Louis Stokes mentored a lot of individuals, and Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones had a mentor in her mother and Annie Key, and Marsha Fudge also mentored Chantel Brown. So those are examples of mentors in our area that were able to help people succeed in their careers.
Okay, it's going to be hard to top that one, but here we go. I actually agree with you. I think you made very valid points. Larry, you hit the target. I believe we need to give our advice in a more direct top-down approach. Like when you are giving advice, it doesn't really open up the avenue for the mentee to think for themselves. And we need to be mindful of that. Giving advice could, it just gives your lens of things. We need for the mentee to feel comfortable enough to be able to explore their own mind, their own thoughts and envisions, and we want to support that. So when it comes to the balance between advice versus empowering, I'm more lean toward empowering. Yes, I will give you my advice, I will give you my support, but I'm going to also empower you to think for yourself. I'm going to also empower you to make choices for yourself. So, yeah, in that aspect, I love it.
And now this question will be for the entire panel, and Nicki, we will start with you. Would you please share a memorable experience where mentorship significantly influenced your career or life?
Yes. So in a previous role, I actually, before coming to Cleveland, I worked in primarily military adjacent nonprofits. And really, in those military adjacent nonprofits, I was working primarily with active duty military service members. And I was new in my role and working with Marines. And I had never worked with Marines before. And my mentor was a retired Navy captain. And she had moved into the nonprofit space post-retirement, and she was just a dynamo. As you can imagine, she had worked for 30 years. She had led, just, sailors and had been in battle. And so she was just imagine her, and then imagine me. So but she was fantastic because she had also been working in the nonprofit space for 15 years. So she knew her stuff. And as I was dealing with the Marine Corps and really trying to make my space in this nonprofit military world, you know, she said, hold your ground. You're the subject matter expert. Don't let them push back. It's kind of like, you know, kind of something like you had shared. Like, you got your stuff, you know your stuff. And, you know, I actually carry that with me almost every day because I thought, oh, she anointed me. She told me that I know what I'm doing. And I needed that at that moment because she had such experience and knowledge. And I felt at that moment she was giving me the righteousness to say, wait, hold on. I know what I'm doing. Take a step back. And, you know, I needed that. And so usually she wasn't that forthright with me. She kind of let me stumble. But in that moment, she really gave me what I needed. And, you know, and afterwards, she, you know, we had some talks and she said, you know, I knew what you needed. I usually don't do that, but you needed it at that moment. And I thought, she just knew. And I think that's what mentorship relationships do. When you invest the time and you really get to know in the relationship, you know, that give and take of mentee mentor, that's something that you can't do on the fly. You know, you invest that time in the relationship, and folks know what the other person needs. And I think that if we hadn't had that relationship, she wouldn't have shifted what she usually did. If she, you know, so she did that, and I carry it with me every day, and I use it in my role today. Sometimes I hear her voice, and I say, "Oh, I'm the subject matter expert. I know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm good. Here I go into the fray." So.
Thank you.
For me, you're going to hear me talk a lot about confidence because I think that that is what I needed when I was going through the 2 mentorship programs. 18 to 22 is a very hard time, and I was very indecisive and had a lot of questions. And though I have been fortunate to have women in my family that have gone to school and gone to college, they weren't in the same subjects that I was interested in. So I was really interested in political science and policy and public administration. And I didn't really have those degrees with the women in my family. But when I got to graduate school, I was also thinking about pursuing a PhD at the time after my master's degree program. And I remember I was talking to my mentor, Dr. Gleason, and I kept saying, I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I'll be able to do it. I don't think it's for me because I don't think I can write a thesis. I don't think I can write 50 pages, 50, 100 pages, etc. And I remember he stopped me mid-sentence and he went, I need you to stop saying can't. Because it's not that you can't do it. It's about if you want to do it. And I think that that really struck me because I had never thought of it that way. It wasn't about me not wanting to do it. It was about me thinking I couldn't do it. So it was another one of those pivotal moments where my mentor helped me build my confidence as a student and just really showed me that I do have the ability to do things. It's about what you want to do. So that was very memorable for me.
So we're going to continue along this same line. The first 2 people explained to you moments that they had with their particular mentor that meant something to them, it marked an experience for them. And I have the same sort of story. I once told my mentor, listen, I wouldn't ask anybody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And I meant it as a statement of sort of humility and fairness. And he looked at me and he said, well, Lawrence, that sounds noble, but it's not necessarily true. Let me explain to you how the world works. And so he gave me a scenario where in the sewer department, there are screens, and there's a job in the sewer department that requires someone to clean the filters that filter out everything that goes through the sewer. For someone, that is a job that they enjoy going to. Not necessarily the best job for Lawrence, or the job that I would enjoy going to, but it's a job that someone else would. And so what he was showing me that leadership is not about what you would do, but it's about recognizing and respecting and supporting what others do. And it's less about trying to project how you feel onto someone else, but about finding the right fit and the right role for that particular individual. And that conversation, it reshaped how I see leadership moving forward. I don't try to walk in someone else's shoes. I don't try to see everybody else's way of doing things, but I certainly respect the perspectives brought by each member of my team and try to find the right role for each
As for me,
It's,
okay.
it's you.
So the most memorable experience for me, honestly, is from the Genesis. I got to tell you, it's amazing. Just the feeling of knowing how you've impacted someone's life and how they've impacted yours. Um, we all have children. We may not, I don't know, but somebody has a child involved in their life that they really, truly care about. I have my own children, but this set of children are a little bit, they're just as special to me. I had the opportunity to work with eighth graders. Their minds are beyond belief. They are highly, highly absorbent to information. And I love the fact that they give back. They have great feedback. They are so intellectually inclined to today's world that I actually have to ask them for help sometimes because I'm not quite privy to everything either. So, with that being said, it's the journey. Just learning new people, new ideas, exploring new areas of life that I've never even, may not even have experienced, but I'm getting that information back from my mentees. And we're both learning from each other. It's just a great journey. And that to me is so fulfilling. And that's what keeps me wanting to keep going back. I found myself actually missing them. Okay. That felt kind of good to me because that let me know that there was a true, mutual, respectable relationship. And that means a lot to me.
Thank you. And we have reached our final question, and this is for the entire panel. And Nicki, we'll start with you again. How can organizations foster a culture of mentorship?
I think organizations can foster a culture by doing things like this. I mean, I think this is simply amazing by offering learning opportunities just like this. The way that the county has this type of learning panel is simply amazing by just imbuing and embedding mentorship through different methodologies. I know that you have mentorship opportunities because you've invited me in. And so I think the fact that you have so many participants on this panel that have mentored with other programs throughout the community, I think that's so important. So organizations being open to not just mentorship within the organization, but outside the organization, that's number one. And I'm going to let other folks on the panel talk because I could talk about this for hours. So we can always come back to me if we need to focus.
I think being intentional by, departments having new hires, pairing them with someone a little more senior in their department, starting programs within, if we're specifically talking about the county, but starting programs within the county about, pairing our new hires with senior individuals. And sometimes I feel as though that we have a kind of informal mentorship program a lot of the times here, because I know that there are a lot of people in my department that I lean on who are senior and that I feel comfortable going to and talking to, but just kind of being a little bit more intentional department by department with that pairing really setting aside time for us to talk and have conversations about things that we might be struggling with.
When you take a look around at different mentoring programs, the most successful ones implement several particular steps. And Nicki brought up making mentorship visible as one of them. So it's important that the leadership in whatever that particular organization is modeling the mentorship. And that's a particular key to start off with. Formalize the framework, actually create the programs that are there so that people know that they're available and they can join them. And Destiny brought up the fact of making sure that you match people with intention. Just don't match up people because they're in the same department. Oftentimes, you need to have cross-department mentoring, and that's particularly key. And that's actually one of the next steps, is making sure that you have cross-level or cross-functional mentorship. You don't have to all be in IT or public safety or HR. You can match people with mentors in different particular areas of that particular organization. Then block the calendars out. Protect the time. Make the time available. If you don't have the time available in the workday or after the work hours, then you end up having a structure that's failing because you haven't provided the steps for the mentor and the mentee to succeed in working together. And then integrate mentorship into the onboarding program. So when people get onboarded, you want to try to find out about the employee and what makes the best sense to match them up with. All of those steps are key into developing a mentorship program that lasts and thrives.
Piggybacking off of him, I believe, and I agree with everyone on the panel, I believe that we need to get buy-in from the top down. And once we get that fully embraced buy-in from leadership, then we can begin the path to organization fostering a culture of mentorship. I feel privileged to work for Cuyahoga County today because we actually are embracing that. We do college now, and we're also doing True to You. I feel honored to be able to be part of the programs. I am personally going to involve myself in both because I believe they're both highly important. There was not anyone there for me when I was that age group. So to see organizations come together like Cuyahoga County has done and see what they laid out and how they laid the path out for our future generations is commendable. So yes, I appreciate what they've done. I think that a lot of other businesses could probably piggyback off of how we embraced it. And I really don't have any much more to say because we're actually living it. So as county employees, I would just say take advantage of it. If you're there and you feel like this is something that you can do and you would like to do, please, by all means, sign up.
And that's actually a great segue. So we're going to have just a little more information. We are towards the end of our program, and we'll have some information that will come up soon regarding how you can apply to be a mentor to True to You and also to the College Now program. And for those of you watching online and here in person, we also have a wellness incentive for you. So please stand by.
So let's give our panel another round of applause. When you envision something and then it happens and it's beyond what you imagined, this is what this was. Well, we have been talking about mentorship, and yes, we have worked with the administration to offer True to You and College Now for employees to sign up. It's on the N4 homepage. We have, well, it's really the intranet. We have a area called Mentors Matter under initiatives. And you could sign up. There's links to both programs. But when you see it in action, like panelists have talked about, it is absolutely amazing. So I just want to thank Tomika, Jamila, Lawrence, who I couldn't decide if I wanted to call him Lawrence or Larry all day, Destiny, and Nicki for joining us and sharing such inspiration. And I think when I go back to my desk, I'm going to go sign up for one of these programs. And I would encourage my fellow county employees to, take a step, whether it be through college now or true to you. You can mentor within your own area, within your department, within your agency. There's always an opportunity to mentor someone who's coming in. You see people when they are new and they may want to ask you a question. Take that time. Stop, breathe, as Laura says, and just answer that question. You don't know how much that may have helped them on their journey. And for all of you who've been to our Can We Talk events, we always close with, the next time someone asks you, can we talk, we want you all to say, yes, we can. Thank you.
Kim, I think people are waiting and wondering about that wellness incentive. How does that part work?
Okay, so we're going to have both of those on the screen. The wellness, if you're in the portal, you'll go into, I believe it's the reward screen, redeem your voucher, and there's a code that you're going to enter. And if you're online, once this will be for viewing, it will be saved so you can go back in. And I know you want to watch it again, but you can scroll to the end and get your code to have your rewards. Okay, so the code is lowercase WZM, the letter 8, uppercase C, uppercase B, uppercase F, uppercase U, dash lowercase e number 8. And once again, this will be saved on the online. And if you're in the audience, we have them at the back of the room. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I had fun. How about you?